Hi, this is M2 from Road America Northwest, and I'm going to give you a little idea of how I set up my cars. These are the Maseratis that I showed you from the earlier video about the classes and stuff, the two of them. This is the stock one, and this is the one that I modified. I'll remove the shell on this. I have not done anything to the shell. You can see that it's let's see, not much there. No grinding or anything like that. I haven't replaced it with a Lexan interior yet or anything like that. As you can see, it's a Sidewinder. You can see the chip that's inside there with the plugins that are original from Slot.it, so nothing has been done there. The tires have been trued, and they are G25, 1172 G25 Slot.it tires. The front wheels have been trued. I have not coated them yet. Sometimes I'll do that. There's a little bit of controversy on whether that's a good idea or not. In some of the proxies, people have had better luck with cleaning the front tires and using them to limit the slide, supposedly. Jury's out on that. It's easier not to do it, but ultimately, my idea is to get the cars that are pretty equal anyway. So if I do everything the same on each one, then we have a good parity between the cars. You can see at the front there, you can see the little bit of the double face tape that I used to mount the chip in there, and there's plenty of room in this car for the chip, so that's a great thing. The other thing that I've done is, as you can see here a little bit in the front, is some weight. And there's two kinds of weight. One is a piece of lead that you see here, and the other is a piece of tungsten. This is tungsten rod that's used for welding and for TIG welding, and that's the electrode that they use. It's usually ground to a fine point, and then it's used by electric conduction and welding. I use that for weight, and the way I deduce how much weight to put in is, well, I'll show you in the other car. Let me pull the stuff over here. I have a gram scale to the hundredths of a gram, and I will take this and mount it on here. Now these two are very close to the same height. They don't have to be perfect, as long as you have a consistent base of judgment. If you put it higher, it's going to put more weight on the rear. You want to try and get them to the same height as much as possible. So here we go. I've zeroed it out and set it in the center of it. And the amount of weight that's on the rear wheels now is 47.31 grams. Now I'll divide that by the weight of the car, which is 74.89. That comes out to 0.6317. What that means is 63% of the weight is on the rear tires. Optimum weight, from my experience, has been about 59-41. 59 in the rear and 41 in the front. The best slot cars I have generally adhere to that. Now, methodology for judging that is if you have too much weight in the rear, it tends to slide out a little bit, and that was borne out by the track test that we did a little earlier. And that's one of the reasons, besides tires, that the yellow black car was a little bit larrier or slides more. Was a little harder to control in that regard. On the one that I've modified, let me put a screw in here to hold the chassis together. Obviously, you want to weigh them with everything in there. I'm doing this for demonstration, so I'm not too concerned about the exact weights right now. But you can see that I put weight in the front of the car to compensate for that. And if I remember correctly, this one's about 60-40. 60 in the rear percent and 40 in the front. So that gives 49.6264. Yeah, 49.64. All right, sometimes it takes a little bit. Yeah, 49.6. And then I divide that by total weight of the car, which is 81.62. And that equals, 0.6076. So 60% is on the rear wheels and 40% is on the front. And as you can see, that gives a pretty nice car. Overall, it's pretty decent handling. Could probably play with it a little more. On the percentages, keep it that way, but experiment a little bit if you want more traction for the conditions that you've got. Generally speaking, you put weight to the front up to a point. There'll be a point that it's tipping point and it won't work anymore. The other things that you can do is loosen up the pod assembly. Here you can see that there. And a lot of times I will, like on the other white car that I had, that's got suspension in it. You can adjust the springs, or some cars have foam suspension in it, foam rubber suspension that damps the movement of the pod. And you can adjust those things too. But that's generally the way I do it. You can fiddle with it a little bit, and always you're looking for the optimum setup, and it will change. Temperature and the track and everything will change the way it works, and any changes you make in the tires will change it. You have to test it and just work on the track. Okay, that's all for the setup. The other things are normal things. Ride height setup. Here, let me pop this a little bit. You can see in this that there's grub screws at this point right here. And then there's one on the bottom, right there, the little hole. There's a 2mm grub screw in there. And they adjust the axle height for the front. I tend to make them as low as I can possibly get away with. However, on Scalextric track, if you go too low, it'll start bottoming out, so you have to be a little bit careful with that. I set them so that the front wheels touch. Oh, got out of the picture there. You can see the wheels touch when you try to push them. And it's not too low. There's about a millimeter of space between the splitter at the front and the base there. And you can also see, if you look at it right here, that this chassis is a little bit warped. If you look at it, this side right there is higher than the other side. You can see, yeah, it's close to a millimeter difference, which is significant. So what needs to be done is this chassis should be taken apart and put in in warm water, well, very warm, not boiling, but warm, very warm water, and then put on a plate with magnets that hold it down to flatten it, and then put in an oven or something to try and flatten the chassis with the magnets against it so it stays flat. That's one of the things that has to be done on this. And then it should be set to go. But as you can see, it's not super critical. The car runs pretty decent, but it would be faster if you would flatten the chassis, and it would probably be more predictable on the handling. Okay, I think that's all I've got. Adjusting the gears and stuff like that is pretty simple, and that's normal stuff that you do. So, okay, thanks for watching, and give me a thumbs up if you can. Thanks. Bye.